Coming up, we're into your feedback. And why is radio so inaccessible?
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Steven Scott and Shaun Priest.
Hey, Shaun Priest, happy new day. How are you?
Is it going to be? Do I hear a radio rant coming on?
No. I've got things to say, Shaun Priest.
Hello?
Hang
This
on.
thing on?
What?
Hello?
Is
Hello?
that-
This thing on?
Hang on. Is that
Hello?
an Aflalo?
Hi. Hi, guys. How are you?
Oh, Marc Aflalo's here. How
Am
you
I
doing,
interrupting
Marc
something?
Aflalo?
Oh, applause. Am I interrupting something?
You
Only
are.
quiet
You're
applause.
introducing another beautiful episode of Double Tap. How you doing, sir?
Oh, is that what we're doing here? Hi, guys. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. It's nice to have me. Sorry for interrupting. I didn't mean to interrupt. Do you want to just continue? I'll just sit here.
Well, no, I kind of want to know why you're here because
Yeah, it might
I
be a
feel a
bit
little bit
strange.
awkward now. Yeah,
You don't know why I'm here?
No, I have no idea why you're here. Why are you here? You've just arrived in our
You
setup
guys-
here.
You guys
say
don't know how to-
arrived,
you guys don't know how to
barged in.
count, do you? Today,
Why?
this is the 1,000th episode of Double Tap.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Yes, breaking news.
Wow.
Do you realize 1,000 episodes? Not only have you accomplished that, but you're still alive and still pumping out episodes.
And still on air. They're still allowing this to happen. Hat tip, of course,
Well,
to
Mr. F.
God bless you, Mr. F. 1,000 episodes. That's 1,000 hours.
wow. Is that even possible?
Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, it is possible.
Wow.
Sean, were you not aware? You thought you numbered these things, don't you?
Nice to have you back, Mark.
Well, then,
Mark's in charge of the numbers. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know we've been, in the background, we're working on so many exciting things for Double Tap. Obviously, the newsletter is going to be coming out soon. Head on over to Double Tap on Air /subscribe. We've got a really cool things coming up, and I've been going through numbers and analytics, and I'm watching as we upload episodes every day. We were at 999 yesterday, and I've been doing a silent countdown in my head to this 1,000th episode. I have to say that like that because otherwise I mess it up.
Wow. That is amazing.
It's nuts, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty
It
cool.
is.
And you know what? I prepared a little something to celebrate this. I know I'm sure you had something you wanted to talk about today, but forget about you guys.
Okay, fine.
Do you have that video ready, Stephen?
Well, you sent me something that said play this, but don't watch it first. So I said, okay,
Yeah,
fine,
of
I will.
course. So,
Right, okay, will I hit the button then?
Yeah, go ahead. Hit the button.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Hey, Double Tappers, congratulations on your 1,000th episode. This is Amos Miller from Glidance. Thank you so much for the incredible work that you do for the community. I think the fast-moving world of technology is just a little easier for us to keep up with thanks to your work. So thank you for the wonderful show. Keep up the great work from all of us here at Glidance and from the community. Thank you.
Wow,
Hey, Double Tap, 1,000 episodes. What a huge service you've done. So many laughs, so many stories, and so many lives changed. Thank you for all that you've done.
Double Tap crew. Hey, it's Mike Buckley from Be My Eyes. 1,000 episodes. Seriously, amazing. What a contribution to the community, to accessibility, and to do it with kind of fun and occasional irreverence and insight and genuine curiosity is just, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So thank you both very, very much, and congratulations.
Hi, it's me, Mr. F.
Mr. F.
1,000 shows, eh? You know, as we develop a new show that debuts in September here at AMI Audio, I find myself constantly reminding the kids involved, be like Steven and Shaun. Do this. Don't do that. So they must really hate you by now. Me, I count my blessings and look forward to the next 1,000 shows. Now, where's my whiskey?
Mr. F.
1,000 shows. Really? Shaun, Steven, for real? Wow. Well, I guess one appropriately says, well, congratulations, fellas. And as the Wolfman used to say, gracious. No, really, guys, tremendous efforts with everything you do with the show. We are so much richer for it. The reality is you guys can talk not only on tech, but on a huge gambit of discussion points. bring a lot of things that we can relate to from our world and disability, our world, and of course the world of tech, which sometimes it's even a tech show. I think that the fact that you can speak to so many people around the world is an absolute asset to us, but really a talent. You have fun, which is what we know broadcasting is meant to be. And no matter what mood a person's in, you guys can't help but make it brighter for them. No matter how serious, no matter how stressful, no matter how point blank you are about something, it's always mixed in with lots of laughter, fun, entertainment, and really great information. Fedora's off to you, fellas. Thank you. And here's to another, not going to say 1,000, 5,000 more.
Oh, come on.
Thanks,
Oh,
Mr.
wow.
F and company.
That, of course, Kelly MacDonald, of course, from AMI fame, and also the voice of Christopher Patnoe, and they're from Google. We got, a lot of people. I reached out to a lot of people to send some messages. Some people couldn't make it in time for me to crash your party here. Of course, Sarah Herlinger from Apple, Will Butler, our friends over at, of course, Numa and TalkBack, and you name it. Everybody wants to send, of course, their congratulations on this milestone. And as Kelly said there, to 5,000 more, gents.
I'm quite emotional, to be honest.
I know, me too.
That was
incredible.
so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to everyone. Thank you. I mean, look, we love doing this. We genuinely love this thing, whatever this thing actually is. And, we have so much fun doing it. And I want to also just say a huge thank you to you, Mark, because you are a powerhouse in the background. It's funny, people think of you perhaps as just being involved in some way, light touch. People have no idea the amount of work that goes into this show in the background and how we do what we do, how we appear on social media, and how we are able to do all the things we're able to do with the newsletter and everything else. So a huge thank you to you as well, and to everyone, frankly, who's part of this amazing show. Thank you to Mr. F for allowing us to do this for all the years we've managed to do it, and we continue to. Thank you to those who are coming on to support us to continue doing it as well. Yeah, it's an absolute blast. But it does feel, Shaun, like we're getting a little bit serious here. It feels like this is becoming proper serious, like we have to turn up and do this every day or else.
No, forget about that, guys. Just do what you're doing.
Fine.
Yeah,
right, okay,
no, there's
fine.
no seriousness here. Nothing important to talk about in the world.
Well, thank God for that. Look, I want to rant about radio. Are you done, Aflalo?
I guess I'm done. I mean, bye. I gotta go.
Thank you, Mr. Aflalo. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been great.
My pleasure. I'll try to crash you for another momentous occasion in the future.
Thanks, Mark. That was amazing. You know what? It's quite amazing. Thank you so much. But I can't believe Chris from Google was on there. After what I said about the Google Nest and what you've said about Android over the years, thank you so much. You know what? We should say also thank you to our listeners, because the feedback that we get, the interaction that we get, it's the show as well. So thank you.
Yeah, honestly, I know a lot of people say we couldn't do it without you. We genuinely couldn't. We could not do 5 days a week. I mean, as much as there is a lot to talk about, and there is, I think the fact that you guys are so involved in the show and the way that you get involved with the show, and if it's just an email or it's just a WhatsApp message or it's whatever, it means so much to us. It means so much to us every time. I still get excited, of an evening when I, hear my phone beep and I say, oh, it's a new voicemail. And I always go check it. I always go listen to it. I mean, I know you probably think I don't. You probably think I ignore it or he's too busy or he's doing something else. I genuinely am checking them out. People who, I love reading the messages on WhatsApp. Oh, Stephen will never see this.
Yes,
I get that all the time. And it's like, I actually get these messages to my phone directly. I absolutely can tell, what's going on, and I do read them. I don't reply to everything. I couldn't possibly. And I wouldn't want to promise that, because we just couldn't we wouldn't be able to do the show if we were to reply to every email, which is why we do it. And the rule I've kind of always had is we reply to the emails on air. That's what we do. Reply to all the messages on air, because it's a community conversation. It's for all of us. And of course, if you don't want your message read out, that's absolutely fine. But, most of the messages we get, the majority of them are for air. So we read them out here and we do it that way. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. That was a really lovely start to the show. Thank you to everyone involved, including Mr. F, who I think was in some kind of silhouette mode going on there. I don't know. This guy, he loves to be in...
Oh, was he?
Yeah, but here's the laugh. He was in the studio on camera. He allowed himself to be on film. Gotta love
That
Mr.
was so
F.
nice.
Yeah, really, really wonderful. Yeah, thank you to everyone. I have a rant.
Oh, I thought you were going to forget about it. Okay.
No,
a rant
no,
on
no, no,
radio, but you are Mr. Radio, Stephen Scott. You got the voice, you've got the career. What's going on?
Got the face.
Face for radio. I see. I
yes.
purposely left
You
that
did.
out, but
You
okay.
left that for me. You left it on the table. It was too easy. No, do you know? Here's the thing, right? So the other day was in the kitchen and we're having some work done to the house, so everything's kind of ripped out, and it's just a nightmare. You know what it's like? Construction in the house is just the worst, right? Because everything's everywhere. You can't find anything. I know you're getting some stuff done at the same time. It seems like
Yes.
you're always fixing that house. It seems always something else falling
It's a money
out, or-
pit.
Yeah, exactly. Just exactly like the Tom Hanks movie. Just
Yeah.
not as funny.
No,
And
it's
so
a tragedy.
and so, we're getting the stuff done. And so I was in the kitchen and I thought I'd like to listen to the radio. Now, why is that so complicated? Why would it be complicated?
It's not.
First off, in the UK and around the world now, there is a push towards digital radio. America was way ahead of the game here in this. And, they have, of course, satellite radio. They have digital radio, HD radio, I think it used to be called. I'm not entirely up on how the American system works, but it basically is a digital radio system. But they are far more equipped to deal with it than we ever were here in the UK. We had a thing called DAB, digital audio broadcasting, which
Say it.
was terrible.
Awful.
Oh, it was
I mean, if you want to rant about DAB, I'd say go ahead, sir. I'm right there with you.
That kind of leads to the problem, right? But
Okay.
but DAB is definitely a problem as well for a couple of reasons. One, the signal was poor. So, even in a house, you couldn't be guaranteed you'd get a signal.
Oh, it's terrible.
And also the audio quality was terrible. Everything was like really low bit rate. It was like 128 kilobits for music stations, MP3. I mean, it was terrible.
fine, that.
It was like listening
Nothing wrong
to
with
your music collection, which thank you for loaning me the other day. I appreciate it, and I loved it. But here's the thing, that's not the biggest issue for me. And I know there are issues with all that. The issue for me is finding a radio that you can actually access and know what station it's tuned to. And, on FM radios and AM radio back in the day, you would just, around the dial and you would find a station. You would know. I mean, I could tell you the layout of all the radio stations in order. I was enough of a geek to be able to do that.
Yeah, that is pretty bad.
But,
actually,
I
Stephen
think
Scott.
a lot
Okay.
of people kind of figured it out. You knew if you got to a certain station, you could go back one and that would be another station. You would figure it out, right? You knew where your stations were. Of course, they had numbers then. They had 101 FM or, a 102.5 or whatever it was. You would know what the station was on the dial based on the frequency. And if you found one station, which was usually called a name, like we had one like Q96, so we knew if you're at 96, you go up a bit, you just carry on from there. You figured it out. You could do it yourself.
All right, come on, Grandad. We're losing the youth demographic here. The kids are turning off in
Kids aren't
droves.
listening to this. Are you kidding me? We're all young at heart around here. So, no, here I am sort of sitting there thinking, I'd like to do this. So, okay, what do I have? Well, I don't have an FM radio because there's very few FM stations left. There's even less AM stations now, pretty much disappearing by the day. And the options I have are, okay, a smart speaker, which everyone will default to. But, okay, let's park that for a minute because it wasn't in the room. Mm-hmm. I've got a smartphone. Okay, I'll just go in there and I'll find the station I want to listen to and I'll just go in and listen to it. So I go to the station or the app that you have to go and download to get to the station, which then requires you to sign up and give off all your personal information to this company so that you can listen to the radio station that you used to be able to just turn a device on and listen to. I even downloaded an app called Speech Radio, which is built for blind people.
Yes.
And it asked me for my name and my email address and my postal address. And I'm like, why do you want to know all this? I just want to listen to the radio. I mean, it's not like I had to sign in because I was blind or, certify that I was blind in order to use the app. It was a radio player app, right? It was just built with accessibility in mind first, which is great, by the way. But why do I need to give off all my information to get to it? And then, okay, so, all right, if I bother to do that, fine. I didn't want to do that. I just want to listen to the radio. So I start Googling, right, okay, what is accessible radio? Find an accessible radio out there. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing out there. What I mean by accessible is a station that I can tune on digital radio, at least, because that's where most of the stations are, be able to go through the stations and actually select a station based on me actually knowing what it is, rather than just going click, 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 or press, having no idea what the stations are that I'm passing by. I have no idea what's on digital radio, because unless I go and Google, what is on digital radio and actually look at an actual list, I have no idea what stations are on there, because I can't access any of them on a damn radio.
DAB radios were a disgrace. They were so incredibly expensive. The accessibility was, not even basic. Do you remember the ones where if the radio station moved or changed its name, it wouldn't update? Because
that was Pure. That was a company called Pure, right?
Yes.
And what happened was they built in a TTS engine, a text-to-speech engine, into a Pure radio, and it actually worked really well. But the problem was they labeled the stations. It wasn't really text-to-speech. It was more like a label they added to each individual station.
Hardwired in.
Yeah. So you had a station called, I don't know, let's say Heart, right? And that station changed its name to Soul. There, for example, right? I don't know. What,
yeah.
But, let's say that. Let's say the station changed its name to Soul. It would still call itself Heart.
Mm-hmm.
So you could only know what station you were on based on maybe the last 10 years of radio history. If you knew what the stations were in 5 years ago, you could figure out what station you were listening to. It was absolutely nonsense. It was the closest we had to accessible. Thank God we had it. But it was still not perfect by any. But bear in mind, there was nothing else. Nothing. No one's come up with a text-to-speech solution. I remember working at RNIB back in the day. They started selling one.
Yes.
And this was, beyond hilarious. Because this radio they were selling, it was accessible to blind people, apparently, and low-vision people. That's how they sold it. And what you could hear... menus. You could go through the menus of the device. You could hear that spoken. As soon as you went to the stations, nothing read aloud.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It was large print though, so plus point, but not great for blind people.
Right. Okay. All right. I think we've give our opinions on DAB. I think though. Going through the old AM, medium wave, FM, long wave. Tuning in, you didn't know what you were getting to then. Like you said, you had to know the frequencies, or you'd find something and listen out for the station ident until they said, you're listening to whatever. Yeah. So, we never gained anything in accessibility. We never lost anything. But this whole, I think that, as I always say, the smart speaker is the most accessible media device you'll ever have. But your issue here is the apps are great, whatever, even they're accessible, if they're accessible. Your issue is signing up, registering.
It's just, it comes to the point where, again, I just want to listen to the radio. Why do I have to do 15 steps to listen to a radio station?
You do one step of registering and you do it once, and then you don't have to do it ever again, Steven.
Okay, I get it, but why do I need to register at all? I want to listen to the radio. The last time I checked, the radio was available on a thing called the radio.
Is it? When was that?
I don't ever remember buying a radio in the 90s that I turned on that said, now you have to give us your name and your address and your postal code and your favourite colour and what favourite food you have on a Friday. And we'll maybe let you in as long as you approve the sign-in email we've just sent you. It's like, come on. I just want to listen to the radio. I was listening to Will to Live. I was having lunch. I just wanted to put the radio on. And the hassle to do it was ridiculous. And again, if I go out and buy a radio, an actual radio, I still can't even access it because I've no idea what the station is I want to listen to. I can't say, the only option I've got, the only option left is the smart speaker. That is it. And even it's now barking ads at me. Even now it's saying, we've sent you this to your Lady A app and you can sign up here. And it's like, if you want to continue listening, it's better you do this. And it's just like, come on. To me, it just feels, if I'm honest, it's more about technology regression in a lot of ways for me. I feel that things are supposedly getting better, but they're actually getting worse.
Are you jumping on a bandwagon here? I heard this phrase bandied around quite a lot now, especially I think on streaming TV. Right, how we've gone back, how we were so keen, so eager, so outraged by the cable packages that we had to subscribe to, and I don't want to watch those channels. I just want to pick and choose the channels that I want. Why am I paying this outrageous price? We got what we wanted, and it's not much better.
No,
So
it's the same as streaming services. It's the same with all these things, right? I mean, yes, I now have access to thousands upon thousands of songs, but actually, what do I have access to? I certainly I don't own anything. I don't own albums. I mean, even audiobooks, right? I mean, what happens if Audible goes under? Let's just imagine a day that Audible goes under. I mean, I hope that never happens, but, it's not impossible. It could happen. What happens? I remember we used to get emails from people saying, they spent a lot of money at Apple Books. And then one day, those books just disappeared out of their library. Gone. That was it. Done. Couldn't get them back. Paid money for them. But,
no, you didn't. You didn't pay money for them. You paid money for a license to listen, to read, to play in the case of games. And this is a big issue that is coming up, and it's getting a bit of traction, actually. I noticed there was a video from Louis Rossmann about a senator who's bringing up this very issue. We don't purchase items or objects anymore, digital being the thing.
Well, we purchase, but we don't own. That's the thing. Purchase
now means we license.
Yeah.
We don't own it. If we could download it to our hard drive and keep it there, Kindle books was an example I think he gave, was that you can no longer download the Kindle books and store them on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to turn things off, if Sony wants to remove the Discovery content from people who've paid for it, they can, because you don't own it. You just license the right to watch it whenever you like.
I mean, we saw it
take that back.
In music. We saw it when Taylor Swift had fallen out. I can't remember if it was Spotify or Apple Music or whoever it was she'd fallen out with.
That's
and that
right.
was it. The music just went. So any albums you had were gone. And this is the new problem we seem to live in. And it's interesting, just in the UK recently, I saw a story about an increase in sales of DVDs and CDs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not huge numbers, okay, not going to save the industry stuff. I mean, the industry's still losing massively. But there is a desire from a lot of people, especially when it comes to movies. A lot of people don't the purists out there are the ones who are generally going after. They want the highest quality, they want the best video, they want the best audio, they want the director cut, they want the DVD commentary, all that extra stuff, the joy that movie fans adore. They want access to that, and it's just not being delivered in the digital packages in the way that they want. So, either the companies have got to realize this and start delivering what people actually want. We've got much faster broadband speeds now, mostly, not everyone, of course. But, we have, for most people living in cities and certain suburban areas, you're going to get decent internet now. So you can get 4K and Blu-ray high quality. It's going to move up to 8K eventually as well. So, you can see there's a way you can fix this problem, but people are kind of starting to vote with their feet and say, do you know what? No, I'm not having this. I want to buy. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of getting back into the mindset of, if I want an album, I'm going to buy it, because if I want to actually keep this album, like the albums I already have, I've never tossed out, I've never thrown, I've always kept them, because these particular albums, I think, well, I'm never going to get them again. So I'm going to keep them. I'm just going to hold on to this, and I'm going to rip them into my computer and keep them for life.
Well, there's the other angle to this story, is that, it promotes the use of software to get around the DRMs, right? If I can rip an Audible book so I can store it and back it up on my computer.
That you've paid money for, by the way.
Yes, exactly. Why shouldn't I be able to do that? I own it, but I don't own it. But I should be able to.
And you would probably be, and that company could potentially come after you and say, well, we're going to close your account because of that. I mean, it's so ridiculous. And look, on the radio front, because I'm kind of focusing on radio in particular, just because of the ridiculousness of it, a medium which is built for, I mean, it's not built for blind people. It wasn't built for blind people, but it very much is a blind person's best friend in a lot of days.
It's ours now.
Well, and it kind of always was blind person's best friend, right? And a lot of people's friend. I get it. But the point is, for us, it's a medium which should be more accessible than it is. And it seems ridiculous that in 2025, this is one category where there is no accessible solution, barring apps or smart devices, essentially devices that are not built to be radios. That's not what they're for.
You say that about so many things, that the only accessible option is a smartphone or some technology. I mean, I haven't used an old-fashioned, as we would call it, a wireless. I'm not talking about networking.
That's why.
Yeah, are all those
If I was
stations...
to say to you, but hang on though, if I said to you, right, okay, go out tomorrow and buy a radio, the first thing you would say to me is, well, there's no point. They're not going to be accessible, right?
Yes.
So of course you've not got one.
But I would say I don't need one because I'm using my smart speaker or I'm using my phone.
Well,
I'm
look,
asking the voice assistant.
Here's the other side of this coin, right? So, obviously we've seen what happened in Spain and Portugal recently. If that's not a wake-up call to a lot of people, I don't know what isn't. Because, that's going to happen more and more. We're going to see more and more of this as climate catastrophe continues, as we start to see the more use of these new energy resources, renewable energy resources to be able to power a planet. There's going to be a lot of bedding in for a lot of this stuff. It is going to be challenging. And there will be more of this. And of course, that's not even accounting the potential of war or anything else that gets in the way of it. The other night, I was sitting in the house. We were watching a TV show, very funny TV show, by the way, called The Pradeeps of Pittsburgh. Story about an Indian family who moves into America. They emigrate there. And it's funny. It's on Amazon Prime. It was a kind of like, I found a clip
it streams? Did you have to sign in?
Yes, I did. And I hated every second of it. And if there's a DVD box set, I'll be buying it. But of course, here's the irony of that. They probably won't get the audio description because, why would I? Yeah. But that was the thing. So I found this show, found it very funny, and it was quite amusing. And in the show, the audio describer would just randomly say, blackout. And she was saying it because the scene would change. You would have this kind of musical kind of dump moment, right?
Like a fade to black.
Yeah. So the screen goes black. So she just kept saying blackout. And I laughed my backside off when at one point she said blackout and every light in the village went off. Literally every light and electricity supply in our village went off. And just for a minute, I thought, uh-oh, here we go. What are we dealing with here? Is this a Spain situation? Are we going to be off now for 3 days? Am I going to have to learn how to live off the land?
Light a fire.
Because I've got artificial grass and I don't think I'm going to live off that for very long.
You thought AI had taken over for a second. That voice assistant's got really good.
I was thinking, wow. I mean, it really does respond well, But honestly, it came back up in a minute. But even so, there was still a minute of terror. And again, in these moments, where would you turn? What would you do? You would reach for a radio. And this is another big issue, of course, the lack of FM and AM stations now. This is a whole other debate that's going on at the moment in the radio industry, which is, if we start cutting the cord and getting rid of these services, what do we turn to? Where do we turn when we can't get access? It was interesting. That's the first thing that happened in Spain and Portugal was that they sold out of radios within a very short space of time because people were, immediately trying to find out information. And the only way to get it was through the radio because their phones were useless to them. Because even though they may have had power on their phones, they had no connection.
Yeah, that's right. So, everything went down, all the supporting structure as well.
So I say, and and it's funny. I never thought I'd be saying it in 2025 because I kind of came away from this viewpoint a long time ago. But you know what? I think we've got to start taking radio a bit more seriously. We've got to invest in it a bit more, and we've certainly got to make it more accessible. And I've seen a couple of projects through the years come along that are trying to do it, that are trying to build it. It cannot be impossible to build an accessible radio. Please, it cannot be. Make it Android based or something, dream. Or make it, base it on some sort of technology that already exists. Do you know someone actually commented on Mastodon and said to me that the closest I have to an accessible radio in my home is my television? And I thought that's an interesting state of affairs.
That is a great point, actually. Yeah.
It is. It's the only one left. It's the only one I can turn on. It doesn't ask me to sign in, unless it's a smart TV, of course, then it probably will.
You just got to go through 1,000 channels trying to find the radio station that you want.
Yeah, but it's better than it not being there, right? And at least it's accessible. Most TVs have got a guide in them or a talking guide. So
you know what? I think that was a valid rant, Stephen Scott. I will give you that one. It may be a bit of vested interest though, because now we've hit 1,000 episodes. Are you looking to what's coming up in the future?
What, thinking our jobs are finished? We'll
perhaps we'll
be back on the radio.
To go to radio. Double tap AM.
Double tap on AM. That's an interesting idea, isn't it? Again, it's funny we say this we broadcast on AMI Audio, right, which is a TV channel across Canada. That is how people can tune in. And actually, this is the interesting thing. It's probably the most accessible way you would be able to listen to AMI Audio outside of a smart speaker or a phone. Again, this all assumes that everyone has access to these things.
It does. No, you're right.
So anyway, that's my rant of the day. But I feel better, actually.
dear.
I feel better. Thank you.
Good.
This is Double Tap.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
All right, shall we get into some emails, Shaun Priest?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, fine.
Email. We get email.
I can't help dancing.
Get your email every day.
Ding
On our
dong.
1000th show.
Here's your mail today.
Yay! Special
What a
1000th
special
oosh.
1000th oosh. Wow. Can't believe it's 1,000 episodes, can you? I mean, it doesn't... I mean, I suppose they do stack up when you start doing the weekly, right?
Yeah.
Not to decry the 1,000 number, but, you know, they do
I'm
stack up.
trying to ask my smart speaker how many days and weeks and months is 1,000. I can't work it out. We'll come back to that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm trying to think what we would have talked about in the early days that would have been around, because we're talking almost, 7 years ago now? Maybe 8 years ago?
Has it been 7 years?
Well, yeah, 2017 we started.
Wow.
So, yeah, what's that?
8 years.
8 years, is it? I can't count. Oh, clearly I can't count, even though we're at 1,000 episodes. But yeah.
Wow, we're getting old.
We are. Goodness me. Anyway,
Well,
right, let's move on.
That was a poignant pause. Well, we just thought about our futures.
I know. We just kind of both had a moment there, didn't we? Right, okay, let's go to Scott first off.
G'day, Steven and Shaun. It's Scott from Sydney, Australia here. Just wanted to mention the fact that I'm very interested in hearing from Steven regarding his Gemini live experience on his Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. I've actually got a Pixel 8 from last year and love the phone as well. I'd like to know from Steven what he thinks of the Samsung TalkBack, because I know from talking with other Samsung Galaxy users that Samsung TalkBack is a lot behind the Gemini version of TalkBack. And
Google.
I'm just wondering how you're finding the TalkBack experience on your Samsung device. I know you don't have a Google or another Android phone to compare. However, I'm just interested in your thoughts, and I'd be very interested to hear more of your Android experience on future episodes. And I'm going to see, hopefully, the Gemini Live, where you can use the camera, will come to my Pixel phone if it's not already there. Keep up the great work with the podcast, guys, and thanks very much.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Yeah, look, I'll be honest. It's probably a better experience for me using Samsung because I'm still fairly young when it comes to experience with TalkBack, right? So, you know, I don't have the level of knowledge to have the intricacies of knowing every single TalkBack feature. And then when I turn to something like Samsung, I think, oh, it's missing this, it's missing that. I can pick up on a few things. The problem for me is I'm coming to it from an iPhone. So I'm looking at it from the point of view of, oh, well, it's not an iPhone, it doesn't do this, so how do I do it on TalkBack? And that's kind of how I'm learning it. I think there are key differences between the two, no doubt, but those differences have narrowed massively because Samsung and Google are working very closely together to develop this. I mean, it's not like Samsung are just entirely going off rogue here. You know, Samsung, I mean, I don't know if you followed the story of the XR glasses and the XR headsets that they're working on for this new Android XR, but it's Samsung that's making the hardware for this. So they're doing the work. Google and Samsung are tied together here in many, many ways, and Android accessibility is one of them. Now, it is often the case that you'll find that Google will get updates to, well, it will get its own updates first, and then Samsung it will release later, or they'll bake it in slightly differently. And why they're doing that, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what the reasons are, but they seem to be clearly focused on getting the best experience out of their own hardware. And I kind of respect them for that. I mean, I haven't seen any other company doing that. So I find that quite cool. But, yes, it is a little bit different. I'm not the person to come to and ask the differences and what they are, but we can and we will point you towards an episode of Carry On Accessibility where Shaun and I joined Carrie Morales, and we actually did talk quite a lot about not just the Samsung S25 that I'm playing with, but also the Samsung Watch as well, because I have many thoughts on that, more experience perhaps on that, and certainly you can see the differences there between the Pixel and the Samsung. My immediate takeaways of that phone is that it's a stunning device. I think Samsung knocked it out of the park with the S25 Plus. I think the previous versions are great, but I think this one is just a beautiful design, a really lovely phone, extremely responsive. Whether that's the TalkBack integration and the way they've done it, I don't know, but it certainly feels more responsive. It certainly feels I'm in more control of it than I felt on a Pixel in the past. I would say it's a really nice device to use. As for Gemini and that feature with the video capabilities, I love it. I mean, I'm using it quite a lot, although I will admit I'm actually using Copilot a lot more these days because I'm using Windows. I'm just jumping onto Copilot to get responses from it. But video stuff, I mean, I have been able to fix a few problems at home by just holding up the camera and asking questions about what I'm using, what I'm doing, trying to fix something, getting information about products, and actual detailed, deep level, rather than just saying what is the product, actually going deeper into it, saying, okay, what's this do? What's that do? I've set up a network switch, right? And I'm like, okay, what are all these ports? What do they mean? Because it was a brand new 10 gigabit Ethernet switch I'd never used before, didn't understand how it worked, couldn't understand how all this thing kind of clicked together. And Gemini talked me through it. And this is the kind of thing that is going to be really popular in the mainstream. You're going to get a lot of people who are going to be almost feeling like they've somehow got all the YouTube videos they've ever wanted live in front of them, and they can just query them, because that's essentially what's going on, right? I mean, it's like, what do we use YouTube for mostly? We use it when we're trying to fix something. How do I do this? And then YouTube video comes up. But actually, being able to take that into a live environment and actually be able to ask a question about, okay, I've got this thing and I don't understand how to do this thing with it. And how do I make it work? And it be able to talk you through it and explain it and, do it friendly. It never gets annoyed at you. You can ask it at 3:00 in the morning. These things actually matter, especially to blind people, right? Because these are the challenges we face. These are the difficulty is often you want the sighted help, but it's never available to you when you need it at 3:00 in the morning when we're all wide awake.
But you don't feel guilty about asking AI.
No, absolutely not. No.
I think, I can't wait until we see this vision option available across the board and on the free tiers as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are going to really enjoy it. Of course, with all AI, we get those frustrations, those limitations, but on the whole, it can be incredibly useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question, Scott. And like I say, check out that Carry On Accessibility episode where Carrie, Shaun and I, and John Dyer as well,
and John,
from Accessible Android, he was there as well. And just a brilliant resource on all of this.
He was the expert.
He absolutely is the expert, yeah. I'm dabbling with Android, and I honestly don't think I'll ever switch over to it. I think I'm just part of the iPhone ecosystem. I'm trapped. So be it. Unless things drastically change, never say never, because, I would say now I'd be more comfortable switching to Android, without a doubt. I'd be probably more comfortable than ever to do it.
Yeah.
But, would I actually do it at the moment? No. Honestly, I'm not going to. But I love playing with it. I love testing it out. I love trying stuff. And I feel a lot more connected into it now. I kind of understand it more. And that's because of the amazing work they've done at Google and Samsung as well to make this as accessible as they've made it. It's a brilliant option for people. And you don't have to, like I've said before, you don't have to go down the route of spending huge amounts of money. The Motorola G54 that I picked up for like $200 is a great phone. It's, you're not going to get the latest Android operating system right away. You might not even get, depending on the one you buy, you might not get the next one. You might only be getting Android 15 and then that's it. You don't get 16. It's the price you pay, right? But at the end of the day, if it works for you and it's going to do the job, if it's going to get you online, if it's going to get you making calls, if it's going to get you using WhatsApp or, whatever you need, then it's going to do the job. And, the experience on those phones is good. It's not like a sluggish, horrible experience. I think some people think it might be on the cheaper devices. It just isn't.
It's usable and
more than usable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you do have access to other Android phones So he's got lots, Scott. It's fine.
Oh no, I do. I absolutely do. Yeah.
Have you got a Pixel?
I've got a Pixel 8 Pro, so I can't compare the Gemini on it, obviously, but I can compare TalkBack because it obviously runs the latest and greatest.
Is it not running Gemini yet?
I don't think so. No, that may have changed. I don't know. I haven't been following it as closely, but I know they did roll it out to other Android devices, but I don't know if it's on the Gemini Advanced plan still.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
It depends on what plan you're on. But, and again, it depends on where you are in the world, right? We're always back to this again, well, it's available here, it's not available there. Fortunately, that was something I did get access to. But I kind of think to myself, when this gets into glasses, and I'm kind of looking at Google for this is when these get interesting,
Yeah, I agree. Especially
reactionary or proactive AI. That's when these get interesting. Like literally, someone's in front of you. If it gets to that point, wow, things are going to change.
That's the game changer. I'm still waiting for those Copilot features that were demoed recently at the Copilot event. I really want to see. I want the ability for Copilot to see what I'm doing on my screen. I was asking it to teach me. Well, I say it's something called what's it called? Power Automate. Built into Windows, a way to automate, like macros and things like that. It's something I've dabbled with before, but never got my head around. I was asking Copilot all these questions about it, and it was so good. But with the ability for it to see what I was actually doing on there and saying, well, actually go to that button, and that would be amazing. I can't wait for something like that.
Yeah, I must say I'm using Copilot so much more, and I will say the answer to Copilot is to wear headphones if you use a screen reader, because it just does they all do. They get so confused by the screen reader. But it also means if you've got headphones on, like if you're with your PC and you've got a pair of USB-C headphones plugged in or 3.5mm headphone jack headphones plugged in, not only can you obviously talk to it, but it might give you direction to do something. I was trying to do something on Outlook the other day, and I was asking it. And as long as you're quiet whilst you're doing what you're doing, you can sort of let it say, it'll say to you, you want to go and try this? And then I just go off and try it. And then I'll be just like sitting there thinking, this isn't working. Yeah, this isn't working for me. I can't get this to do this. Okay, let's try something else. It's just literally like someone's there. It's just like someone's literally just sitting there waiting to talk to you. And if you don't talk to them, obviously they're not going to talk to you. Unless, of course, it can hear your screen reader, in which case it'll talk all day and night.
Very impressive.
Thank you for that. Appreciate the question, Scott. Let's go to Carl.
Hi, it's Carl from Leeds in the UK, Garden City of the North. So I just wanted to make a few comments on the piece you just recently done on diabetes and management and looking after your blood glucose levels, especially with the CGM systems. Background, I've been type 1 diabetic since 1979. And totally blind for the last 20 years. So I've seen loads of changes with monitoring your blood glucose levels from the old days of what seemed like a chemistry set and all the way up to blood monitoring machines, talking machines, and all the way to the end point now, which is what we've currently got, which is the CGM system. So I use the Libre system, and just for full disclosure, I have actually consulted with Abbott, the makers of the Libre system, around their accessibility, not of their app, but of the actual physical device itself. So a couple of points. One on the testing with your machine, your talking machine. So a thing that I found really, really useful, other people might find useful, because there's no way of doing this without ending up a bit of a mess. Sometimes you are finger pricking and trying to squeeze your finger to get a certain amount of blood out, and it can go everywhere. I've got plenty of stories of spraying blood in all kinds of directions, but this is a family show, so we'll leave that one to one side. The hard part is really about getting the blood onto the strip. Some machines have you drop the blood onto the strip, and some machines have you actually dip the strip into the blood. One useful tip is that if you move the strip across your finger towards where you think the blood is, to where you think the blood is, try and move it so that the edge cuts through into the blood the little bubble of blood that you hopefully have got nicely placed on the end of your finger. If you keep it so the flat side of the strip goes towards the blood bubble, you'll just basically move it around and get nowhere. So you need to make sure the edge of the strip cuts into where you think the blood is. That can improve your chances of getting a good result. But to be honest, I've tried every which way, and it can be a bit of a mess. So you know, good luck with that. On to the Libre. So it was mentioned that when you're using VoiceOver on the Libre app, that you don't get a sense of the direction of your blood glucose results. And that's true. VoiceOver only reads, I think, one of the directions, obviously the graphic there, that it's a consistent trend. And it's really important that you know which direction your blood glucose is going. So having a blood glucose of 5.5 is great, but knowing whether it's shooting up or dropping down or flatlining is really important. But there is a self-voicing mode on the Libre system. So if you switch that on, it'll be in the menu, and then you double tap on the blood glucose level. It will actually speak out in your favorite voice. Mine's Daniel. Less said about the better. I will speak it out, and it will actually speak the trend. So that's one way of actually getting the trend, that information that doesn't require voiceover. The other thing I'd say is that one of the great things about the Libre for sighted people is, of course, you've got a graph of your levels over time, and that graph is inaccessible to us. I did talk, must be a couple of years ago now, to the app people about making that graph into an audio graph, but I'm not sure anything's come of that so far. But I've tried everything with this graph. I've used AI to upload it and to query it, but there's always a sense that this is important information, and sometimes all it takes is for you to get one conversation going on with AI which makes no sense to really put you off. But I did find that another app that I've connected to my Libre app, so stay with me guys, it gets complicated, called Sweet Dreams, has a section on it where you can set the time frame for a graph, and it does have an audio graph for that. So that's great, because if you're getting up in the morning, you can set the time frame for the last 8 hours, play the audio graph, and get an idea of what's happened to your blood glucose levels overnight, which can be really useful, because lots of things happen overnight when you're not really aware of it, and you can have high blood glucose levels, low blood glucose levels, and they have early morning effects which can make a difference to the rest of the day, and it can be really frustrating when you're not really sure what happened. So I would advise definitely getting a hold of the Sweet Dreams app. So this is iOS, not 100% sure where we are with Android for this, and this is the Libre system. I find that gives me a great amount of knowledge overnight, especially if something goes wrong. You can start to see, maybe get an idea of what went wrong. So there's a few tips, and I hope everybody's doing great, and good luck with it all. Okay, bye-bye.
Carl, really appreciate all that, because, you know, it's such a vital subject, and, you know, where else will you get that information from, right? It's just that detail is so important. So thank you for sharing that, and following up, of course, on that great conversation that you had with Tess Lockton recently.
Yeah, it's just so helpful. You know, look, as I said at the time, I felt a little bit of a fraud because I've type 2 diabetes, and it was more of a want that I wanted to check my glucose levels. But, you know, if you've got type 1, this is critical stuff. And I still find it frustrating, you know, that, hey, the audiogram option isn't available there yet. But aside all that, some great tips, Carl. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not a fraud for wanting to check your blood glucose. You are diabetic. It's important you do.
Yeah, I know.
It can
but
progress, you know.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I want to hear from Larry.
Hello, this is Larry Birdsong from Nevada City, California. I haven't left a message with you for a while, but I've been stalking y'all and keeping up with everything every day. You mentioned that you'd like an alphabetical list of files If you go to the app library and just tap in the search field, that's all you have to do just to get the cursor there. You'll get a alphabetical list of all the apps. Hope that helps.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm aware of that feature, but I suppose I just kind of wanted a list by default.
Well, there's one there.
I know, but yeah.
You want everything just spoon-fed to you.
Yes.
You don't want to sign up for any services.
Nope.
You don't want to double tap on an edit field to get a list. What do you want? You want the moon on a stick, sir?
I would like the moon on a stick, please. With side serving of chicken skewers, my latest obsession, by the way.
I've got to say, I always totally forget about the app library. I
know.
never, ever use it.
I know. Just it's steps that you just don't necessarily need to take, I don't think. I mean, it should just be an optional. I mean, look, if I can do it on the Apple Watch, I can do it on the iPhone. That's my take on it, right?
Well, you could organize your iPhone, into folders. It makes sense. I've got everything on one screen, all organized. It's called good housekeeping.
Now who wants the moon on a stick? Right, here's Renee.
Hey, guys. This is Renee in Kentucky.
Hey.
Very much enjoy your shows, your podcast, your knowledge, and your fun. I love the way you all get along and teach us at the same time. A couple of comments. The glasses, the blind uniform is whatever works for you, do it. The other thing is, I'd like to hear your comments on the Echo Vision glasses. And also, this might be an odd question, but how can a person tell if a website is not accessible? I have been trying to figure out a website now for a couple of months, and I can't believe that I'm the only one that's having so much trouble with it. So how can a person tell that it's not accessible? Thanks, guys, and keep up the great work. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Renee. Look, on the Echo Vision glasses, there's not much more to say at the moment than we've said already, because they're not out yet, or at least we can't access them yet. I kind of want to get hands-on and try them and get them into the real world, and we are working with the company to do that because we do want to test these out. I mean, we're going on about the Meta Ray-Bans all the time. It would be unfair of us to not even consider talking about Echo Vision, which is clearly really hitting a note with the blind community. So, we will talk about them definitely when we get hands-on. I think that's the fairest way to do this.
Absolutely.
Now, as for websites and inaccessibility, so you're clearly having an issue with a website, and I'm guessing other people are telling you they're not having problems with that website. I suppose the best place to start, Renee, is send us a note and tell us what website you're talking about, and let's have a try at it, and also let us know the issues that you're having, because you probably won't be alone. There will be a lot of people who will be having issues. Now, it could be down to the way you're using the screen reader to navigate it. It could be that it's a browser issue. There's lots of reasons why, and of course, different people will have different experiences dependent on their own use case. So someone might only use Safari on the Mac or only use Edge on the PC. And, because of that, their experience might be different. I've gone to websites. OneDrive is one particular one. I was trying to download a file. Couldn't do it at all on Safari on the Mac. Did it in a second on Edge on the PC. So, there are perfectly good examples where accessibility might be a problem, but just on a specific browser where someone else may not be having that issue. So there's a lot of things to break down. But let us know what website you're having an issue with, and also perhaps what those issues are.
Issues?
Yeah.
I mean, accessibility. Everyone would say, well, it's because the items aren't labeled, or the screen reader doesn't read anything at all. But it does go further than that. I would say also usability. Mm-hmm. Right, it may be technically labeled, but maybe it's a nightmare to navigate around, or it's not obvious what I need to do. So, definitely give us some more information on that.
Look, it's not your case, Renee, I'm sure, but for me, it was the early days of using a screen reader. The entire web was inaccessible to me. I couldn't figure out how to get around a website. Could not understand where I was when I would go onto a website at all. Completely confused. Yeah. And it was just years of practice and training and realizing and learning about headings and links and buttons and learning the structure of what should be in a website. That's, of course, often the problem, right? There isn't that structure. That's what makes it inaccessible. You have headings that aren't actually headings. They're just text that happens to be bold and stuff like that.
Buttons that aren't buttons, just images.
Yeah, but you would think should be buttons, but actually are links. And, trying to find all this stuff can be really challenging. So, that's why the web is always a wild west anyway. But like I say, get in touch and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. That's it from us today. Again, can't believe we're sitting here on our 1,000th show, but you know what? A huge thank you to everyone who's been involved in this program from the beginning right through to today, because, without everyone, this show just wouldn't be here, and you especially, dear listener, but also to you, Priest, because you know what? I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. I'm telling you that here and now. I wouldn't do this every day. I just wouldn't. It's an absolute joy.
Thank you. Right back at you. Yes, another 1,000 to go. Let's start counting down.
What was it Kelly wanted? 5,000? I mean, come on. I've barely got any hair left as it is. What will I look like? Will we still be doing this? It'll be AI that'll do it in 5,000 episodes, right? Surely.
No, we're not going anywhere. That's what I'm saying. We're staying. I'm loving it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Sean's not leaving the shed. It's a protest.
No, exactly.
That's it. We're out of time. Goodbye. Catch you tomorrow. Thanks, folks.
Bye-bye.